starts feeding through anyway. So let's see. I'll wait until I get confirmation that we're feeding through. In the meanwhile, smash those thumbs ups, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Go to hankstrange.com, sign up for the email list. You know, I'm Hank Strange on Patreon. What else? What else we got?
Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Minds, Facebook. You're gonna have to like friend me on the personal one because, you know, can't seem to get the Facebook back here. Let's see. Okay, it looks like we're feeding through here. All right, let me do the open. Hold on one sec. And nope, that didn't fire. Hold on. And
welcome back to the Hank Strange Situation.
All right, make sure you guys
Lifestyles
subscribe,
of
thumbs
rock
up,
and
ring the
roll.
bell so you can be notified every time we go live. We are live. Mychael, you're new here, but we do jazz hands. That's how we do it. You know, no macho-ness getting in the way. Do the jazz hands. Come on, let's see those jazz hands. Mychael, do it. Do it. Or you could do Kevin Dixie's shadow boxing or whatever he gets into over there. Yeah. We're all chocolate today, people. I hope you got.
Oh, okay.
I hope you got your. I don't know what kind of panties should we go for the when we're all chocolate? Chocolate
Just
panties.
say chocolate.
Oh, okay. The edibles. The edibles. Hope you got your.
There you go.
Hope you got your edibles on. This is the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. I'm coming to you guys live from Gainesville in Florida. Of course, joining us is Diximus Maximus, Kevin Dixie. Where are you, Kevin? I forgot the place where you are. I can never remember.
St. Louis, Missouri, man.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I
Don't
remember.
disrespect my city, Hank. Don't disrespect my city.
St. Louis, Missouri, you know.
Kevin's here from St. Can I say St. Louis? Is that I don't know.
You can say St. Louis. That's cool.
There you go, St. Louis. Of course, we've got Mychael. He's here from MJ's Firearms. And where are you, Mychael?
I'm located in Richmond Park, Illinois.
Illinois. So there you go. So we're kind of, you guys are close. You guys aren't that far from each other, right?
Yeah, 4 hours.
In the vicinity. All right, we've got you all here. The show's brought to you by Harry's Holsters. Shout out to Harry's Holsters, makers of fine Kydex holsters. What I carry myself, I can't show you because of YouTube restrictions, you know, but I use Harry's Holsters. And the code is Hank Strange. It gets you 10% off from Harry's Holsters. So there you go. As I said, we've got Mychael, MJ's Firearms, joining us. We've got Kevin Dixie. We don't have a plan of what we're going to talk about, regardless of Lola trying to make us have a plan. I think there's lots of things to talk about here. Where should we jump in here? Obviously, you guys know each other, but I did meet you. I think I met you before, right, Mychael? Met you before somewhere. NRA or something like that?
SHOT Show some years back.
Oh, okay, SHOT Show. All right, cool. So we bumped into each other again at SHOT Show at Kevin's soiree in his penthouse apartment in the sky, you know, like the Jeffersons or something like that. Yeah, at this past SHOT Show. So we're gonna introduce you guys to Mychael. Where should we start, Mychael? I'm gonna start it off with you because once we get Kevin Dixie rolling here, you know, it's like a freight train, St. Louis freight train. We won't be able to stop him. Tell us who you are, how you got into this whole gun world. You know, where are you coming from? Let the people know.
Well, my name is Mychael Walther, like you guys know. I'm from Illinois, or Chicago, Illinois. I got into the business in 2014. I started working for a gun company called Walther Arms.
Okay.
Out of Yorkville, Illinois. I was their armor there.
Mm-hmm.
I was their armor / gunsmith, whatever you want to call it, and that's what I was doing. I was doing that for about 4.5 years. Went to SHOT Show, you know, kicked around you guys. That's where I met you, probably in 2000. I think it was 2014.
Okay.
They went out of business in early 2018, and I actually at that moment that's when I started my own business. I required obtained my FFL license when I was 24 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and then some buzz came around. They was telling me they found out that I was actually the youngest. The ATF actually told me I was the youngest African American federal firearms license gun dealer in the country, and the first under the age of 25 in the state of Illinois.
Okay. Did that make them do some extra? Background checks on you? You can tell me. I won't tell anyone.
They have everybody's information. I mean, of course, you know, we got to submit fingerprints, photo ID, date of birth. stuff, so they have all that information.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The guy was pretty nice. He was a minority too. He was a Mexican guy who ATF I had to interview with. He just was like, man, they actually told me, that you were the first one on age 25 and you're youngest in the country right now. I was like, what? Like, man, you got to roll with it. I'm like, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to put that on the business card or something like that.
I barely even talk about that. KD make me, he make me say it more than I like to say it.
Right.
Yeah. And I met Kate. I'm looking like that. I met my buddy KD at Ingram last year, and man, we just hit it. Yeah. He invited me out to his training, his NOC training learning industry event.
Okay.
That was in 2019. It was great. Had a fabulous spot to go this year. Definitely. It was wonderful. Also, after how kind of me and Katie kind of grew a stronger connection, because right after the training, I was headed back to Chicago, and I ended up getting into a self-defense shooting that I survived. Me and my son and I. And I thank Katie almost every single day. Like, for me, him even invited me because I was actually one of my first actual training like outside of the state type of thing.
Okay. So you started your own gun store, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Okay, but at that point you weren't doing a lot of training or anything like that. You were just doing like gunsmithing stuff.
So I was very familiar with just firearms just in my hands, but I was not actually trained with shooting firearms.
Oh, okay. All right. Kevin, do you want to jump right into this incident that happened? I know I heard about it from you guys at SHOT Show. So first of all, what was the class that you gave? Is this the usual class that you travel around the country doing, or?
So no, this was the event that Mike came to was the NOC Train and Learn event, which is the industry event for everybody, small, big, writers, media, whatever. It's not excluded to just one class of people. But Mike came down, and part of that training was training with other trainers. So Mike got to spend some time not only with myself, but he got to spend some time with Ken Scott, Perfectus Group, and Dustin Poof with Team Springfield Armory, and all the training that was drilled in that day, and it's an important part of what we do. We are learning the business aspect about what we do and how to be better at our crafts, but there's also outside the classroom there's the training function, and that was fresh in his mind. And unfortunately, he hadn't even changed clothes yet from leaving the training event, and somebody decided to try to deprive him and his son of their life and their liberty. And he did what any responsible citizen should do in that situation, resorted back to his lowest level of training, and he won the fight.
Okay.
So I think the big thing from that is, and Mike says it himself, and I'm humbled that he thanks me, but the real thanks goes to him, because he is unfortunately, we're not bragging about this, but unfortunately he is the poster boy for what a good American looks like when they are forced, when their back is against the wall, and you force them to defend themselves, which is something we never want to do. And when you toss in his 5-year-old little prince, it just makes it all that worse, right? So, but yeah, the Train and Learn event is when he first came and got any type of official training, and less than 24 hours later had to use that training and save not only his life, but his son's life, and he just got a newborn child. So all those things is why we tell people that training is important. I'm just glad I can be a part of his story in a way that keeps him alive to raise his family.
Okay, all right, very cool. I'm going to jump deeper into this. I just want to take this opportunity to remind everyone, smash those thumbs ups, all the folks that we have coming in here now. If you can, share this. Like I've said before, we don't have use of our Facebook to share it and stuff like that, so we appreciate you guys doing that. Let me give some quick shout outs. I see Kevin the Tac Daddy is out there. Shout out to Tac Daddy. I think I saw him at your event as well. He's bigging you up out there. I see Harry's Holster as well. Let me see. Let's see if there's any other people. I know we had American Gun Chick in here earlier, so I'm not sure if she's in there. But shout out to everyone in the chat. I know there's lots more people than that in the chat here. We're going to probably just deep dive into this conversation. But like I said, as you guys are coming in, if you could smash those thumbs ups, I appreciate it. If you hate us, smash the thumbs downs. That's fine. It all works pretty much the same way to the algorithm, so it really, really doesn't bother me. Okay, so Michael, do you want to tell us how this whole thing unfolded, or is this something you rather not like deep dive into here?
I don't mind. The case is closed at this moment.
Okay.
I'll just start from here. After, like Kevin Dixie said, after the event, not even 24 hours, I was still in training clothes pretty much. I was coming back from St. Louis, of course. I got to Chicago, dropped some of my firearms off at my house in Richmond Park, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Hit it. At that moment, I was headed downtown Chicago, where my girlfriend, she's a registered nurse at a hospital down there, so she stays in the medical district.
Mm-hmm.
Her house to see her. I had my son in the car. I had my buddy Devin, who's also he does podcasts and things like that. He's in the firearm industry. He was with me in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Got to Chicago. To my girlfriend's house. Parked the car. Got out. Had my firearm. I had my firearm finish carry. It was an HK VP9. Don't really like it. It was HK, but I had to see it.
Okay, is that for Kevin Dixie?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, all right, fine. Yeah.
Had it finish carry. Walking in the alley. I had a bunch of lint in my pocket. I walk up to in Chicago, for people who don't know, everything's pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
The buildings and everything, the alleys, everything are very, very close together. Walking in the alley, emptying some trash out of my pocket. I'm holding my son's hand. Also, I hear a gentleman yelling on the phone as I'm emptying the garbage out. And the garbage can by the fence. We kind of lock eyes, and he sees me, and I guess he assumed that I was a gang member.
Mm-hmm.
Even with seeing my son right there, I guess he still assumed that I was, still a gang member. He starts yelling racial slurs to me, one of gang signs, just being disrespectful, cursing my son out. He pulls out the firearm. When he pulls out his firearm, at that moment, I actually grabbed and shielded my son and put him kind of like behind the house. It was very close.
Mm-hmm.
Put him behind the house, somewhat cover.
Mm-hmm.
I pull my firearm out. As I pull my firearm out, he starts walking closer towards me and fires rounds.
Wow.
As he fires rounds, I actually return fire, shoot him, stop him, and unfortunately, even though what he did was terrible. We just as responsible gun owners, we don't actually really want to take someone's life. That's not really what we really want to do. Unfortunately, he did lose his life to the head. And after he went down, I'm kind of like scanned my area, make sure there was no other threats and things like that. Walked up to him, see him there bleeding. Immediately called for an ambulance and called for the police to get there as soon as possible. I'm on the phone with them describing, myself, what I'm wearing, my name, let them know, hey, I'm going to describe myself again. Kind of in a state of shock because I've never been into like an actual shooting where it was I never had.
It seemed like this all happened really, really, really fast.
It does. It happened really, really fast. I went into what you call like a tunnel vision. It seemed like a long time, to be honest with you. It really did seem like it was forever. I mean, it was definitely something that changed my life forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, still can remember a lot of things. Like I don't really remember seeing my sights and things like that. I don't even think I've seen them really. I've seen them in my sights for like a very short period of time. I heard like maybe 1 or 2 gunshots, and then my mind just was in complete tunnel vision. Yeah.
So did you have like one of the things I know I've gotten with lately is USCCA, because I mean I've really known about it for a while and I just never did it, and then as time goes on I keep thinking, you know what, if something really happens here, this could get really expensive legally. Did you have something like that? Did you not have that? Did you have to even defend yourself like that in court, legally, all that kind of stuff?
Well, considering everything that happened, it's kind of when you're in that type of situation, even police officers, you know, as bad as they try to bash them, you know, they don't have common sense. They can see that you know, they recovered a firearm, and there was, you know, there was shells, you know, all around his body and things. Pretty clear cut case.
Okay.
It was, it wasn't really where I needed a lot. I did have.
So you found the police officers that responded to that to be, I don't know how I should put it, Kevin. They took your side, or they were, you know, they.
I think they did, definitely. The police officers. I mean, my family. I also have like 13 family members that actually work for CPD, Chicago Police Department.
Okay.
My uncle was actually at the station when they brought me to. You know, it was they knew kind of had an idea when they seen my uncle that we started, you know, exchanging, started to have a conversation with each other. They definitely did not like rough me up. You know what I'm saying?
Flying Rich is asking if you were arrested. Were you arrested?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody gets arrested. I mean, I got arrested. I did get arrested. I was at the police station. Technically, they're actually really not supposed to arrest you. They're supposed to detain you, not an actual arrest. But I did get arrested. Later, I found that out. I actually talked about that a little bit later because when I ran my, when I actually did a background check on me because I have access to that FFL. Now, when I seen that I had an arrest on my record, I kind of got a little angry at that because I was like, I shouldn't be arrested. You know, I don't feel like that's kind of actually. That's bad. You know, I don't want that on my record, especially with having an FFL license and things like that. So I actually had it expunged, and that was the only court date I actually went to. I never went to any official court date regarding that self-defense shooting because the gentleman actually lost his life. The only thing I would kind of have to really work on as far as is if they try to sue me. So, you know,
okay.
Case.
So just to go back to this, and for anyone who's joining us now, you got into this incident where you had to defend yourself. Was the other guy like a white guy? Because you said that when you were there putting out the garbage with your son, if I'm recollecting this right, that this guy saw you and assumed you were a gang member. What's the what's the background of the guy? Was it a white guy?
No, I believe he was mostly Puerto Rican. I think his mom had mixed with a little white, but he was more of a Puerto Rican.
Okay, so when he was throwing up gang signs. I mean, when he thought you were a gang member and he was throwing up gang signs, at first I'm thinking that this was someone like just joking around with you or something. But was he a gang member? Why was he throwing up gang signs?
He was, the detective who handled my case actually did notify me and told me that him and his family were very heavily involved in Latin King. It's a gang in Chicago. Latin, so they were. If he had a rap sheet super long.
Yeah, that's pretty. Latin Kings are pretty serious. So he must have already been on edge because all of this just unfolded really, really fast in my mind. So maybe he was thinking that someone was out to get him or something like that. This guy was already on edge.
He actually was. He was recording live. He was actually recording either on like some type of social media.
Wow.
Threatening and when they covered his phone, they were actually they seen all that, all the videos and stuff like that. Detectives, actually undercover police officer, actually following some of his accounts.
Oh, so this incident went down live over social media?
Yeah, he was recording live. I don't think he got time to post it. I don't think he actually had enough to actually post the video.
Okay.
But he actually was recording live, and they were able to see a lot of stuff that I told them, a lot of information I told them. They were actually
collaborating. Kevin, what do you think about all this? How did you find out that this happened so soon after your class?
Mike called me, and you know we talked behind the scenes for a while, and he knew enough about me. So for those that only see me on social media and don't talk to me, really don't understand what I do. So it could be misconstrued as one way or another. But Mike knows what I do. He knows more about my background, so he knew to call me. And I did exactly, and I'll keep those conversations private. But I did my best, and I wasn't the only person. He has a great team and some great resources around him. I just played my part to make sure that he was okay. You know, that's the number one thing, to make sure he's okay. To make sure that he wasn't used for the wrong type of glorification of the incident.
Mm-hmm.
And also with that, making sure, first thing I ask after him is, how's your son? Like, what does he remember and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, just kind of guide him through what the interview process is going to look like. Be careful of different outlets, what they're going to try to yank out of you, the key buzzwords, how they're going to try to spin you, helping them avoid that just from my personal experience. And I think it played out well. But outside of him and his immediate situation, which is what I was most concerned about, and giving him the advice from the life experiences I've had and, being a part of the system as I was, it was the importance of what we take for granted, which is the ability to have your arms and then the skill set to deploy them if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
And so after him and everything surrounding him, that's the thing that hit me immediately. 2019 was a very interesting year for me. I had 4 people that had trained with me that had to use their firearms in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of those resulted in fatalities, and 2 of them resulted in serious injuries.
Mm-hmm.
None of them resulted in convictions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
and that's a reflection. Like, if anyone thinks that's crazy, it's really, to me, this is a reflection of just how much training Kevin Dixie is actually doing. You're talking about, like, the celebrity of folks like myself, right? I'm always making videos, shooting guns, doing a lot of the cool stuff, but you're out there actually helping people, training people, advising people. You're doing God's work out there, which I think you realize that.
Well, no, I appreciate it, man. It's humble. I just try to do what I can. Everything is, unfortunately, I don't think I can speak for everybody when I say this, no matter what you do in life, everything's not for social media, right? Everything we do, I would say probably a very small fraction of what we actually do in our lives makes it online.
Mm-hmm.
But my goal to heart, once you move past everything else that I have to do and what I'm forced into, is to make sure that people are okay. And I think that we've gotten past the importance of what we're here for. So the video clip that's floating around to me online now, where I say, where somebody's asking a question that apparently, or accusing me of taking the wrong way, and when I sat on the stage and said, hey, you know what, next time somebody threatens you, or talking about they're going to not threaten you, talking about they're going to kill you, shoot them in the effing face.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody, wanted to mistake that and say, oh my God, you're aggressive. What are we doing this for?
Yeah, okay, hold on one second. Let me just rewind a little bit here. Are you talking about when we did that panel? Is that a clip from when we did the panel?
Yeah, the Maj panel, the Maj's panel with SHOT Show.
Really? So that's become a thing?
Yeah, that's become a thing. So, you were in the room, right? Yeah, you were sitting on the panel.
Yeah, I was there.
So,
I wasn't aware that was a thing.
Actually, that's been moving around because it's just, how sound bites go. How you get a sound bite and a clip and you roll with it. But, actually, a few seconds before I said that, you were giving your input to it. And it was during when the LGBT TQ organization, Piper Smith, was expressing some concerns.
Right,
and, I know that she says that that wasn't the question, but anytime you were tying in the fact that somebody threatened you, they're going to be a SHOT Show, and they threatened you so much that you had to hire executive protection that's sitting in the room with you that you spent thousands of dollars on for that week. I know how much EP work costs, so I should charge for it. I ain't cheap. So if you are to that point, when I sit on stage and say, I'm tired of the questions, because if it's gotten that bad, we are past all the PR stuff. We are past, as to a community, we are to be polite. We are past all that. At this point, it's why I named the company No Other Choice. You've literally given me no other choice and put my back against the wall, where either I get to go home or people get to come to my funeral. And guess what? I want everybody to make it home. So even that clip of shoot him in the face is like, oh my God, you guys are so aggressive. I am a trainer at the end of the day. Believe it or not, my job is to make sure you make it home, and then I use my experience to make sure you don't go to prison. So that's what I care about, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just thankful that Mike, and I didn't talk about it until he talked about it, because I didn't want people to confuse it with, oh my God, now you're gonna try to use that incident as a way to gain popularity. Now I got dozens of students that are alive today because of my training.
I mean, that's the reason why we do it, and that's the reason why the Second Amendment. I mean, let's boil it down to what it is. Ultimately, when it's your life versus another person's life, there's no one there. There's no other authority there to adjudicate it except you and God. If that's what you believe in. I mean, that's different for everyone, but it's up to you to save yourself. I remember that, growing up in New York City. I grew up in New York in the 80s, which was pretty rough, and my dad always used to tell me, every day, he was like, just come home. You know, I don't want you to come back here in a box. You know, and I mean, it was really that kind of a situation, and it seems like what happened to Mike here was exactly that. Not even something that he even expected. You know, something that normally, like, if you did you say you went home and then you were taking out the garbage, or, you know, how?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't live in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
My girlfriend, she lived inside Chicago because
Okay.
she had.
You were taking out the girlfriend's garbage.
No, I was actually taking out my garbage.
Oh, okay.
I literally was just coming in from town.
Oh, okay. Oh, from visiting her. Okay.
Getting on the road, stopping at gas.
I was just saying, because that would be a good reason for me to never take out the garbage ever again.
No,
Yeah.
she doesn't live there anymore.
Okay.
I immediately were out of there.
Yeah.
The reason why I was actually there because my girlfriend's kind of green. She doesn't know that the area is actually bad.
Okay.
She's just like, let's just stay here, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't want her staying there by herself, so I would stay there the day she worked, and on the day she didn't work, she'd come back home with me.
Okay. Let me ask. I'm sorry. Let me ask the question that Kevin asked, and then I'll get into some other stuff because I think there's people asking some questions here. I don't want to linger on this if it makes you uncomfortable. It's not like, you know, I get how all of this works. You know, I think that the question that Kevin asked, he said he asked you first about your son. That's really poignant. How is your son dealing with? I mean, I don't know how he was dealing with it then, but how was he dealing with it then? How's he dealing with that now?
Well, immediately after after the shooting, maybe roughly, I probably waited about 5 or 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
I did seek counseling for my son, and I went to I'm a Christian. I'm a part of a church called Family Christian Center out in Monster, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
We went there and spoke to the pastor and spoke to other individuals that was there to help us.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get counseling for him. I still think my son, he was 5 years old when the incident happened. I still think he was a little bit too young to really grasp. He does know, and he is aware of, you know, I do teach my son about firearms and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I bought him his own gun to take him out shooting, good stuff like that. So he's aware that I actually did use a gun,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of shielded him. He didn't see the guy's body or anything like that. I kind of covered him up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he grasped everything that happened.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, I did seek counseling for him.
Yeah, the weird thing about being a kid, and I mean, even though I'm an old dude, I can remember it. There's a lot of things that happen to you that you don't really 100% remember when you're conscious, but they still act on you, and sometimes even more powerfully than you realize, even though when you're conscious, you don't realize that thing is acting on you. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. There's lots of things that happen to kids that they don't even realize this thing happened. But they're dealing with that and they're reacting to that all the time, right? So, you know, I think it's something to always watch, man.
Oh, absolutely. I do watch my son very close. I'm very close to him. We do almost everything together. Literally, that's my best friend right there, man. My daughter, she's born. That's my favorite girl, and my son's my favorite boy. You know,
Awesome.
everything together.
Yeah.
But I am very aware, and I'm watching very closely. He doesn't really seem to be, you know, changing too much. I watched his, you know, him in school and things like that, his grades and stuff like that, and just his behavior. He seems to be okay.
Okay.
Definitely knows what happened, but he seems to be okay.
Okay. Good. There's a couple of things here, Kevin. Feel free to jump in, man, if you've got anything. Jason St. Pierre is asking Mychael. He says, so did you feel you had trained to a point that you used some muscle memory when that tunnel vision started? More directly, were you content with your readiness? It's an interesting question. Because this was one training class, right?
Yes, this was it wasn't one. It was 3 days of training.
Oh, 3 days. Okay.
I mean, it was so much information.
For the first time, though. For the first time that year, yeah. This was the first time you ever did any kind of training like this.
To this type of, you know. Mm-hmm. This is like the first official training as far as in like actually with the firearm. I've done many like local, but nowhere near compared to this. I've been to a bunch of classes now. I can name the training schools, but I don't think that there's one that actually compares.
Okay.
To,
and you'd obviously used a gun before, so you'd gone to the range, shot, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay.
Of course, I'm pretty familiar with the firearm. I'm very like as far as my like skills with the firearm. It's just with building and, you know, putting guns together and actually always having to shoot, hold guns, test firearm. my hands and my reaction to it with the firearm is pretty good, I would say. So I think mostly with that event, from coming from that event, I think my skills were sharpened, and I think that my reaction time was so much more faster because I literally just came from a training, from shooting probably 2,000 or 3,000 rounds. KD was giving me rounds. I probably shot 1,000 rounds in his ammunition. He just like here, So I mean, I think my reaction was a whole lot faster just based off me coming from that event 16 hours prior. So
okay, all right, Kevin, was there something you wanted to add here?
No, man, I think he's doing well. I would just, I think his, since he's telling a story and it's not using a story, there is a portion, and let's not even talk about the people that aren't quite ready to explore firearms yet. There's a pretty decent size of people that are already gun owners and believe in the Second Amendment and do all the great jazz. But there's this system of people that just do not believe in training. And you are going to unfortunately find yourself in a situation one day where even situational awareness that's a part of training could benefit you, even if it doesn't mean that the gun needs to be drawn. And a lot of individuals are taking training lightly. And another thing that I want to point out, and this is, and I know a lot of great trainers around the country, and I respect a lot of them. I've learned myself from a ton of them. But here's something I will tell you. You can't learn this stuff from Instagram. You're not going to learn it from YouTube. You need to get your butt in some classes. And please, guys and girls, stop thinking that it's good enough just to train with your cousin in them. Like, you need to branch off, spend the gas money, hop on a plane sometimes, plan things out. Money is a real thing. You have to plan stuff out. But take your training serious. If you don't do so, you're just a liability to yourself, your loved ones.
I'm going to ask this to both of you guys. I'll start with you, Kevin. But, this is directly to what you're saying here. I know I'm probably cutting you off. What do you think the training to purchasing firearms ratio should be for people? I know I'm probably really bad. We're probably all really bad with that ratio. But what do you think's the ratio? Do you think you should buy like 2 guns and then pay for some training? Do you have something? And then, Mychael, I'll let you answer that after Kevin. I'll give you a chance to think about it. What do you say, Kev?
I hate telling people what they should do, but I would say, as far as like how often, but I would say this: if you own a gun, one handgun especially, because it's what you can carry around with you most of the time. If you own a handgun, and outside of a basic like entry level, like maybe concealed weapons course in your local area, you have not been in any training, you should be going to a training class before you buy your second gun. Period.
Okay.
And then if you get a pistol and a rifle, before you buy a second rifle, you should be in a training class with that rifle. So handgun, before you buy another firearm, training. You buy a rifle, you should go train before you buy a second rifle, and I'll say the same thing about a shotgun. Okay. Buy a gun, take training.
Good answer. I know I violated that, but good answer though. What do you think about that, Mychael?
That's what I do. I sell guns, and when I sell a gun to an individual, male or female, doesn't matter. Age, race. I feel like everyone, even before buying a firearm, KD had probably 40 guns of in his personal. I don't know how he stuck all his guns in his truck, but he probably had about 40 guns of his own that here, shoot it. Please shoot this gun. Here goes some ammo. You actually don't even need to own a firearm to go take training. A lot of training schools actually rent firearms.
Yeah, it's probably something you should think about doing first before you buy it. Like actually go shoot some different things.
Depends on the person. Like I would pretty much agree with what Katie said. Each firearm you get, not really each, but like if you get one your handgun, you should go get training immediately. Yeah. Go buy yourself 2,000 rounds. Go take a training course, even if it's local, whatever you can afford. Go to training class.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a good rule of thumb, and I know that lots of people violate it, me included, and violate it constantly, but I think that is a good rule of thumb to at least make guilt work on you. Like, people think there's no power behind guilt. I think there's power behind guilt. If you find yourself violating that over and over again, some kind of guilt should pull you down and go, you know what? might want to do some training. I might want to go and have, like Kevin is saying, it has to be an external source, not just you and your buddies thinking, oh, what you're doing is cool. Oh, you really good.
Right. And I mean, and even when you have friends that might be great trainers, they're still going to treat you different if you're just at the range hanging out versus if you were actually in one of their training classes. An example, I'm good buddies with Ken Scott. Let's take him for an example. Phenomenal trainer, right? Well, if I'm standing somewhere with Ken and we're on a range, well, yeah, that's a buddy of mine. We're kind of bouncing ideas off of each other, and we're probably both getting better in that situation. But if I really want to take, like, oh, you know what? No, I need you to really look at me. I'm not just going to stand there with him and kick it at the range like I've done before. I got in one of his classes, right? And I tell everybody to do that. So often we get this rebuttal. People that get this title of trainer all of a sudden think they can stop training. So you get all these local NRA instructors and are like, oh, I'm an instructor. And I'm like, no, you're a liability. 1. 2, even if you do have a local great source, and let's say you've taken 4 classes with this great local source, eventually you're going to get to a point to where there's really only so much more they can teach you. And there's a whole different plateau you can get out to if you just branch 4 hours outside of your home, right? And just try different people. Look for different instructors coming to your town. Another thing that people can do, I always get the emails, man, let me know when you're in Ouachita, Kansas. I'm like, dude, the chances of me just popping up in Ouachita, Kansas are pretty low. But if you email me and say, hey, I got 5 buddies right now that are ready to drop the money, we got a range, will you come? You can do that with instructors. We just want to make sure there's a clientele there. You just can't say, hey, I'm just going to sit back and wait on you to pop in my city. No, man, reach out and be aggressive about it. And just get at it, because I'm telling you, I do not want to constantly see my people being the ones that are victims. And when I say my people, I mean good, law-abiding citizens that have the means to protect themselves but refuse to learn how to use the tools.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Mike. Did you want to add something to that?
I was saying, I agree with KD 100%. I feel like you do have to be aggressive. Even myself, a week before his event, a lot of people don't take it serious, man. A week before his event, I actually was, man, can I make this happen? I gotta go. I got other stuff I gotta do. Make it a priority. This needs to be if this isn't serious, then that's a problem. You don't need to own a gun. You're a liability, like Katie said. You have to have training behind that firearm. I mean, if you don't train, I mean, it's having a gun it's almost useless. It's dangerous. It really is. I recommend anyone out there, if you guys are listening, you guys tuned into this podcast, take it serious. If you hear my story, 16 hours after leaving an event, I had to use a firearm, to save myself, my son, my buddy Devin in the car, because I don't know what that man would have got came out and did, and my girlfriend inside the house, and my baby. Take it serious. Take it serious, guys.
And something else too, I would like to add. Mike's situation obviously challenged him mentally more than physically, right? And after he had went through that unfortunate ordeal, he handled it as best as anybody in the world could possibly handle it. That's why I call him the poster boy. There's nothing he did wrong. He did everything right from the moment it started to even up until now. But Mike did become, I like to say, he got addicted to training. He became a training junkie, right? And he started ripping and running everywhere, everybody's school, which I love. And he came back to me, I think, 2 or 3 times since then. And even though he
says 4. Give him his credit.
More than that.
4. Okay, 4. I'm sorry, my bad. And even though he had been through that traumatic incident, had been to other training schools, so he's got that real life experience, right? And he's got that. Nobody can deny it. He's been to other trainers. He's on the right path, though. He comes back. And people are like, well, I've trained, and I'm good now. Well, no. He comes back, and I don't think he'll mind me saying this. He comes back to my level 2 course, which I call Evolve 2. He did that, and then I believe we teased a little bit of my level 3 course. And Mike's a young kid. He's been through the gusto already. He's in great physical shape. He's smart as a tack. And he's got life experience. Like, he is like, let's go, right? Okay. I broke him down again, right? And so now it's like, crap, what I thought I knew. Now, and why is that important? Because if he would have got comfortable, right, What if the next threat, which I hope never happens to again, what if next time it's 2 people, right? So what levels have you allowed yourself to be pushed to past your comfort zone? And so instead of him saying, okay, been there, done that, he said, nah, nope, I want more, I want more. And when he came back, the reason I say that is when he came back and we elevated his training, I took what he thought he knew and broke him back down again to rebuild him to be stronger. So now he's even a better performer with the firearm. All these reasons is why training is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just get this question in here real quick. I'm going to remind everyone we have like over 100 people watching us right now. Smash those thumbs ups. I'd like to see us get to 100 thumbs ups while we're doing this. Some good stuff going on here. I carry my revolver in single action says, do you have any nightmares from the incident?
I think about it every day. I won't sugarcoat it and make any lies. I think about it every day. It's certain things my mind kind of took in that that tunnel vision. My mind took like screenshots, pictures. You don't remember exactly. I can't remember everything, but my mind took pictures. That's what it does.
Okay.
I'm not somebody. My mind actually did. And I still see the pictures all the time. But when I feel myself kind of getting down about it, or if I have a dream about it, or whatever the case is, I spend a lot of times in my son's room with him, just hugging him, and I feel so much better. I'll take my daughter and I'll pick her up, and I'm in my son's room. We're just in the bed, and we'll go to sleep together.
Okay.
Wake up, I don't even think about it anymore until maybe some other time, which I will. But it definitely heals me. My son. It's sad. It's sad to say it. I don't mean to make it seem this way, but I'm definitely grateful my son was there in a way because it gives me a reason to keep looking forward. And he actually kind of heals me when I actually am going through it. I'm like, hey man, I did this for you. I jumped in, stop and for my daughter and for my other family. I mean, for everybody. So
yeah, it's the magic of having people who love you unconditionally and you love them unconditionally. So let me get this from Harry's Holsters. He says, after your experience, what ratio would you put on the importance of mindset training versus just gun handling? And Kevin, you could jump in there too, but we'll let Mike take this one first.
I would say having the proper mindset. I usually literally right after shooting on social media and things like that, in KPP, probably tell you the same thing. That's like one of the main things I spoke about, and that's one of the main things Kevin Dixie actually and Ken, all my instructors I was there, put in my mind. Your mind, you have to have the proper mindset behind that firearm. That is the most important thing. I think that's way more important. To answer their question, I think having a proper mindset behind a firearm is definitely more than 50 to 70. So I can't even give you a really. It's a lot. It's a huge. That is the most important. I believe to have with handling a firearm and being in a situation like that is having a proper mindset behind it. Because even defending yourself and being a good shot, you may accidentally shoot someone else, or it's so much more. Situation you actually when you're in a firefight or gunfight or self-defense shooting, whatever you want to call it. Just the gun and having a good gun and red dot and all that extra stuff. Having a mindset is key.
Okay, good answer. What do you think, Kevin?
Mindset is very, very important. If you are, once again, I go back to the keyword liability, right? So you can have the most Gucciest gun on your hill. You could be carrying the truth, right?
Yeah.
And if you are doubting yourself and you don't understand how to address situations or avoid them, or and when we get down to it though, if you don't have the mindset to fight, because if I got the mindset to fight, I'll fight you with my hands, a brick, a bat, a car door, whatever I can get my hands on. If I happen to have a gun and the situation calls for it, awesome. So without the proper mindset, the gun only makes you a liability. Right? Because you can lose control of that gun, you can shoot the wrong person, you can pull it out when you don't need to. Mindset is most important. I would say it's 99 to 1.
99 to 1. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. JP of Blue Rifle Society. He says, and I don't know if you know JP, but he's a police officer. He's in law enforcement in Connecticut. Probably out there on the streets right now, JP, but he was on the show a few days ago. He says there's a lot of people that buy guns and have no idea how to use them safely or for a real situation. So there's different categories of people, right? Just like anything else. I mean, some folks are just collecting. Obviously we're in different categories. So I think this is where the idea of mindset comes in here. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, there are people that have lots of material things, and at the end of the day, that's what a gun is. There's people who have a lot of shoes, a lot of watches, cars, and guns, and their purpose is to have those things. And I don't think any one of us are saying there's something wrong with that. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But you know what? I'll give it to you this way, guys. So the other day I had we had Richard from BWE Firearms on here, and he's like really a gunsmith. He deals with a lot of Uzis, machine guns, things like that, right? Old school stuff. And I asked him the question, like, do you carry? Like, what do you carry when you're out there? And he was telling me he doesn't really carry. And then a lot of people were kind of upset with him, like, is this guy a gun guy? What's he talking about? And the reality is he is a gun guy. And whether he carries or not, that doesn't take away from him being a gun guy. So this is the thing I'm trying to say to you. At the same time, you could be a guy, you have a gun, you carry all the time, and you don't train, but you have a completely different mindset from that person out there who thinks, hey, it's very important for me to actually be prepared for this fight that might come to me one day, like Kevin is saying. It's a survival thing. It starts and ends right here in your mind of whether or not you're going to survive, right? And a lot of things are going to happen to you so fast, like in this situation that we're talking about with Mychael, that you really don't have a lot of time to think about your reaction. You just react. So I think everyone's in different categories. It depends on what category you're in, where you see yourself. Maybe you stop and re-examine and you go, you know what, I've got this huge collection. I do carry a gun. I do care about defending myself, but it's more than like, do I appendix carry or do I do this? There's so many things to this, and everyone's at different places. And just one last thing before I let you guys jump in here. I moved studios, right? And one of the young guys that came over here to connect my internet, he knows what I do. He carries. We were talking about it, and he was telling me how the appendix carries and everything. And I was like, "Do you have one in the chamber?" And he said, "No, I don't do that." And I kind of had this conversation we're having with him. I was like, "Listen, how much training do you actually do? Because if you don't have the confidence to do that, it's an indicator that you need to maybe go do some training and stuff like that." Because I didn't try to come down on him because he didn't carry, right? Because that's like the typical gun guy thing. Oh, that's some punk bullshit. If the person doesn't have that mindset, that confidence that he can have one in the chamber, we should address why that person doesn't have that, or they need to look in the mirror and address that. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, do you want to take this one first, or you want me to grab it?
Well, are you talking in particular about just the not carrying in the chamber, or just the overall thing with the guy not carrying a gun every day?
Yeah,
carry one
I mean, and the reason, yes, I know I'm kind of going around the world with that. What I'm trying to say here is we as gun guys, we fall into so many different categories. And I'm not trying to say there's something wrong with it. We just fall into different categories, and we're at different stages of progression. And sometimes when we're talking to each other, we need to try to help each other, because maybe this person has not evaluated where they're at.
Okay, got you. So I would say this. One thing I'm not a big fan of is making enemies out of friends. Right? So I'm not going to badger someone because they don't do a thing the way that I do it. I'm going to advise them I do it the way that I do it because I believe it's the most efficient way, right? But I'm not going to badger them. So I don't think that that's anything we shouldn't approach people like that. So even with people that don't train regularly, I have buddies that don't train, and I'm a trainer, right? And they don't come out and train because it's just not their thing. And I don't beat them up every single time, but I remind them every time they tell me, "Oh man, I thought I was going to have to this day." I was like, "Well, hope you can perform," because nobody knows. Right? And just kind of hit them a little bit. But for the guys that don't carry one in the chamber, or the guy that doesn't carry the gun every day, I'm not going to yell at them or belittle them or make them try to feel less than. I'm not going to do that. I don't even do that with people that don't own guns. What I'm going to do is just show them like, hey, like not carrying one in the chamber. Let me show you an example of why that's the bad thing. So there's a shooting in Burbank, California that happened a few years ago where a convenience store owner and his son were both in the store. The guys came in to rob the place. The guy was carrying a Glock firearm. I believe it was a 10 millimeter. He was carrying a Glock firearm. And the bad guy, two bad guys, but one of the bad guys came behind the counter. The dad and the son are at opposite ends. The guy turns his back to the dad, completely turns his back, and the other guy can't even see the dad because he's sitting back down against the counter. And the guy's threatening the son, give me your wallet, give me something, got the guns pointed at him. The dad reaches back, grabs his handgun, aims it at the dude, got it right in his back, like God doesn't see it coming. Squeezes the trigger and gets a click. The guy hears the click, turns around and shoots him. He didn't have a round chamber.
Shit. Yeah.
Because we believe that all these fine motor skills are going to come to us. And your firearms needs to be set up in a way, and this goes back to your mindset. When I'm driving my car, my mirrors are adjusted properly, right? I don't even like knives, but if I carry a knife, I'm carrying it on the right side of my body for what I feel like I might need to do if I need that utility, even if it's just for cutting open a box, right? I carry it with the mindset of, if this thing needs to be deployed, how can it be deployed efficiently without with reducing the amount of error that can occur? So it goes back to the mindset. So if I have a firearm, then my thing is to make sure that that gun is in the ready condition the moment it comes out. Because one thing we can have is telling people, hey, I'm not going to badger you about training, and I want you to carry your firearm in an inefficient manner. Like, you were really just setting somebody up. Now, if you decide that you're going to go spend 1,000 hours a year just on carrying without one in the chamber, okay, I might not have an argument for you, because you are building those skills up. You're probably going to be fast and really efficient.
Yeah, doing that Israeli is what is it called? The Israeli reload.
Yeah. But are you going to do that? Probably not. So carrying a gun, that's why I don't believe in external safeties. Just not my thing for a defensive firearm. It's just not my thing. People don't realize that once you get into, and I get it, the majority of people that are in the Second Amendment community, and this is a good thing, not a bad thing, the majority never have to pull their guns in self-defense. And that is a great thing, right? The problem is, if you have to, if you're one of the ones that's called up, you're going to think, okay, I'm going to be able to, mentally address the situation, scan the area, know my threat, and know that it's time for the gun to come out. I'm going to be able to do that in a quarter of a second. I'm going to be able to clear my garment, grab my firearm, present that shot with a clean, smooth press. Rack around. Drop a safety. Now I have, I don't know, maybe I'm a second and a half into it, and then I'm going to depress that trigger smoothly to the rear without jumping my front sight. So now I'm 2 seconds in, you've been shot 30 times. That is just the world we live in. You have a lot to do. Remember, as the good guys, there's a high chance that you are responding to a situation, which means you're already coming in at a disadvantage. Situational awareness, being prepared, can save you from that, but a lot of times you get caught off guard. So you're already at a disadvantage. It's a good chance of that. So now you have to worry about all these other fine things that you need to do when you get your firearm out. It's putting you in a situation where it's not feasible, or it's not going to be conducive for you to win. It's no different than carrying around a crappy holster. That's why we tell people, like, I don't try to get you to buy holsters because I'm repped by one brand or the other. I want you to buy a good Kydex or Boltron holster, or even some good quality leather stuff, don't get me wrong, because I want you to be able to grab and present that gun knowing that holster is going to stay clipped to your damn belt. It's not going to come off with you. There are shootings where you can see guys grabbing and a whole holster comes with them. Why? Because your holster is not seated properly. You bought a cheap holster. You're not wearing the right belt, right? But all these things deal with your mindset before you even walk out the house in the morning. So I disagree with them, but I wouldn't beat them up. I would just show them the evidence to say, hey man, if you got into a situation, this is going to better benefit you, and I just want to see you survive. Right.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to look at it. Ultimately, like what was it you said about we're here to help people, right? You know, we're not here to berate people. It's kind of the conversation about going into a gun store. You know, Michael, you've got a gun store, right? You know, it's a nightmare sometimes for people getting into this, to go into stores, and it's all the way that it's the kind of attitude and everything that comes versus like, are you actually trying to help people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a home-based FFL, so I'm just online. So it's not like actual.
Oh,
or
okay.
whatever.
Okay.
But to answer the question as far as having a round in the chamber, I think it's necessary. I mean, it all goes to how you train. I know a buddy of mine who can pull a gun out and chamber around faster than probably I can pull a gun out and get a shot off. It's all about mindset and how you train. I do encourage people to carry one loaded, carry around in the chamber, because I did that day. I had a round loaded in the chamber. I did not have enough time, I felt like, to actually pull my slide back and get one in the chamber and then get a shot off, because he already fired on me and had a gun out. So just to answer the question, I do recommend, and I will tell anyone who is even new to carrying a firearm, after you seek training, I do feel like you should, and you have the basic fundamental skills of firearm safety. I do feel like you can actually carry one in the chamber, and you should. Yeah. Because the gun is there to be ready at any given moment.
Yeah, so if you have that lack of confidence, look, I'll be honest with you guys. When I started doing this seriously, like I think at this point 7 years ago, in the beginning I didn't do that, and then I asked myself, like, why am I not doing this? What is the reason here? Right? And if we I'm talking about me. I'm not trying to talk about anyone else. Me. No. When I examined me why I wasn't doing it, it was based on my fear. What was my fear? That I was going to somehow hurt myself, right? So I had to examine, like, why do I feel like this? And now I have to deal with this until I get to a point where I don't have that fear anymore, right? That's the thing that we have to do. We need to, what I'm trying to say here, what I'm trying to do here with this conversation is not push people towards buying guns, not buying guns, training, not training. I'm just trying to help you have a conversation with yourself and be honest with yourself. When you're talking to that man in the mirror, that you can lie to everyone else, but don't lie to yourself. Be honest to yourself, because if like it came down to with Mychael, it came down to him, his family. If that's really, really what's important with you, just be honest with yourself and examine why you're doing things. You don't have to go out there. I saw someone say that there's some trainers that make this look like magical or make it really complicated and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to push you in any of those directions. Do what you're comfortable with. Take one step at a time. If a lot of times I think when people are doing all of that, if you see there's trainers out there really making it look like this is something about special operators and tactics and things like that, there's some issues there. But I mean, and
another thing too is what people have to be honest about is once you really once you really get out there and you really start considering the variables, what happens. And I'm not going to stick to this argument because I get it's just a debate. It's not an argument. It's just a debate and an exchange of information. But when you get to one-handed carry, to not having one in the chamber, what if you're down to one hand? Now, granted, there are one-handed manipulations to load around, but you really ain't going to have time for all that BS if you're responding immediately to a fight, right? That's when you can get cover, kind of rack it off your belt, the hill of your shoe or something like that. But if it's like Mike's situation, you don't have time to do all that, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of stuff to think about, but I would tell anybody this. However you carry your gun, that's what I want you to train at. And then during training, if you notice deficiencies, you may or may not need to change things up and just do that accordingly. So that's what I always tell people. Everybody I don't carry appendix. A lot of my students do. So I had to go out and learn appendix carry before I can teach to what they are doing. So it's all about how you want to do it, what you want to do, but just make sure, like Hank said, you're honest with yourself. You're looking yourself in the mirror. If you haven't been to the range, if you haven't been to a carry class, and if you haven't trained with that gun. You can get online and lie to your friends. You can go to the barbershop and be dishonest, but guess what? You get into that smoke, the truth gonna come.
It's gonna get real. It's gonna get really, really real. Okay, listen, let me do this because I think I'm slacking here. The range gave us $20. He says, glad Mychael made it through the toughest battle possible. Yes, thank you very much. The range. He says, hey KD, I'm coming to train with you this summer, and where can I buy an NOC hat? And
I dropped the link in the chat. It's the noc-wear.myshopify.com. Hats will be restocked next week, thanks to you guys. You bought them all. Nice, so hats to be restocked. Yeah, you're still not getting one. Hank. Hats to be restocked next week. And
come on, man. Seriously.
Don't you have a hat? You never wore them.
I never got an NOC hat. It would be somewhere around here. I never got an NOC hat.
even wear it though?
I do. I do wear hats when my haircut's getting kind of busted.
All right, I have to get you hooked up. I get you.
I do. I'm not gonna stress you about it though. I would rather the folks out there get their NOC hats. So also I'm not as bald as you. So what can I say?
Yeah, I got it, man. Woo.
I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing you.
Dealing with people like Mike, man. I tell you, that phone call, I'm like, there go the last patch.
Yeah.
But we will the training for the range. St. Louis. The last time I'm going to really be running heavy is going to be early May here in St. Louis. I'll be in South Carolina, Minnesota, and I think I'm going to be working out something in Florida and Indiana. So just look on. But if you look at the Shopify store, hit the link in my bio. It'll show you. And on my Facebook page, I have my training classes out there as well. But yeah, I look forward to training with you, man. Absolutely. And I encourage everybody. I'm going to kind of be self-serving here just because I have to. But you think I'll go hard for civil rights, get on the range with me. Like, we go. I just don't put it online. First of all, I'm not the best. I know my weak set, right? I'm not good with getting on camera against what people believe training is and making what I do look phenomenal. Because there are phenomenal visuals. And then there's phenomenal training, and somewhere in between there's a good mix. But I just want to teach you how to stay alive. So come train with me, and I'll teach you how to stay alive. Yeah,
look at this whole social media YouTube thing as a menu, right? Sometimes you go into a restaurant, you want something quick, you want an appetizer. Sometimes you want to have a nice sit-down meal. Sometimes you just want the dessert. It's a menu. And we change all the time. That's the reason why there's a menu. Today you might feel like this. Tomorrow you feel like something else. So we're not trying to. Like I said, I think this is a good opportunity to have this conversation here with Mychael. I'd love to have you back on in the future, but we may not have the we may not touch on this again. Obviously, right? We'll get into other things. So let me do this one last thing here, and then I'm actually going to switch over to some other stuff. So I'm going to take this question from Brian Quick. He says, however, if training is a determining factor, then why do we have untrained people successfully defending themselves?
Because they got lucky.
Yeah, luck is real. I mean,
luck is a real thing.
That's what I was thinking. That's the answer to that. Luck. Yeah.
Luck is a real thing. Yeah. And sometimes too, sometimes bad guys present themselves in a situation and they give you an enormous amount of time in the self-defense realm to react. If you got 5 or 6 seconds to react to somebody, that's an eternity, right? So I have been around enough of these situations to know that even in the good shoots, like the guys that are trained up, luck still, you can call it blessings, luck, God, whatever you want to call it, it plays a part in it. But yeah, you're going to have the outliers, and I'm not going to say, well, I really wish they would have lost that fight so we can prove to you that you can't win. Like, no. I'm glad they won, but also what's the skill level of your adversary too, right? What is your adversary trained to do? In Mike's situation, his adversary said, I got a gun and I'm going to start shooting at you. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm a known gang member. this ain't my first time doing this, right? I'm coming at you. So if you take that untrained person, they probably would have lost that fight. Right.
Yeah. If that guy had some training, you'd be in real trouble. Because if he actually popped off shots and missed you, he was just doing like what you see in movies or something.
And that's a great thing to bring up, because I tell people all the time, what was that country that sniper just went crazy?
Was it Thailand? I think it was Thailand, right?
Was it Thailand? And then remember, we had here in the U.S., what was that, about 3 years ago, we had the cop in California go crazy. The black cop kind of looked like LL Cool J. Was running around killing all the police officers. He was a former cop. He pissed them off.
Was that Dallas or was it?
No, it was in California. It was a cop that actually did it in California. Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that. Yeah, someone will have to look that up and let us know about that.
So
one. It happens though.
Yeah, it did happen. Yeah. So what happens when somebody with a skill set turns into the bad guy? Like, seriously, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'll just use me as an example. Take that untrained person, whoever he was addressing or using as an example. Take that untrained person. And imagine if tomorrow I woke up and said, you know what, I'm a bad guy now. You got a problem. You got a problem. You need to be prepared to lay me out and make it home. And sitting on your couch watching YouTube videos of training videos are not going to prepare you for me.
Absolutely. Now, and let's just add this here. I'm not trying to counter what you're saying, because I think you're 100% right. In the situation of what happened in Thailand, where that guy, what did he kill? Like 27 people? He wounded like 50 people or something like that.
I don't even know exactly how he did.
Yeah.
I know he was like a sniper or something.
I don't know, man. What I do know is
Army
this:
sniper.
if you put the odds of, let's say it was 25 people that were murdered and 50 people that's 75 people. If half of those people would have had guns, if a quarter of 10% of them would have had guns, even if they didn't have training, they would have been in a better position luck-wise, right, than those folks who had no access to them. So, and this is the reality. This is why ultimately we all here fight for the Second Amendment. We don't fight for everyone to be forced to train, right? We're not talking about a forced situation here. We're talking about you're a man, you're responsible for yourself. A long time ago, my father taught me this thing. He told me, listen, you could divide people into two categories, okay? The accidental and the deliberate. And he told me you have to ask yourself who you want to be. That accidental person is always depending on luck. So when good things happen to them, it's luck. When bad things happen, it's bad luck. Okay? That deliberate person, that's the successful person. The person who goes out there and studies, learns, trains, is deliberate about whatever it is they're doing. I'm not even just talking about training. Anything you do in life, if you're a YouTuber, whatever it is you do in your life, right? If you're a sales guy, whatever, would you rather be a lucky sales guy that just millionaires walk in there and buy everything you sell? Or would you rather train and practice to know who your customer is and how to better deliver to them and therefore sell them on things? You have to ask yourself if you want to be deliberate or lucky.
Yeah, and another thing to consider too, training. Although we're going to push it, and to your point, Hank, I don't care what you do in life. You can train, you still might fail, right? And the analogy I use with that is, you can take Delta and SEALs and Recon, some of the best trained lethal warriors ever, right? I've trained with those dudes. Let me tell you, it's no joke. Those boys are the real deal. But yet they can go over to whatever Middle Eastern country, and some 15-year-old kid with an AK, he's probably only shot in the air with no training, except for whatever the local militia put him through, goes out there and kills one of them.
Yeah.
And it happens, right?
I mean, what happened to, wasn't it Chris Kyle that got killed by, basically?
Well, Chris Kyle got actually killed by a buddy.
Yeah. And so all the training and whatever didn't prepare him for that. I mean, I'm not trying to, relitigate that thing. I'm just trying to say to you, there's, ultimately, this is the force of nature, the universe that we're dealing with here, right?
So anybody can get got, is what we say, right? Yeah. Anybody can get got. If that was the case, a Navy SEAL would never be killed. SAS dude would never be killed. CIA agents would never be killed. These are some of the finest trained warriors on earth. Secret Service would never be killed. The people they protect, like presidents, would never be killed. So there is always going to be the fact that you could lose the fight, but did you prepare for it? You want to give yourself the best chance to survive it. Might you still lose? Yeah, man. Yeah, that could be, but make sure you're at least prepared. If I'm going to go out, you're going to know you were in a fight, right? I would much rather go out and knowing leading up until that, I've given it all I could give it, and if you just got me, you got me, but at least I was willing to stand up and be ready for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm taking one more, and then we're switching over. One more. American Freedom Outdoors says, what holster do you carry? Like I said, I use a Harry's holster most of the time. I use leather holsters depending on what gun it is. So that comes from Andrew's Custom Leather. Shameless plug right there. Kevin Dixie, what kind of holsters do you carry?
I carry a multitude of brands because I like to see what's out there. But I have a couple of leather holsters from good quality companies. I like my products from Crossbreed. They make good stuff. Most of my tactical stuff, I am running. What I have down there, I got some high speed gear. I run a lot of their stuff. Comtac, I have a few other things. 77 Solutions out of St. Louis. All my custom rigs come from him. And man, I run several. I'm always dipping and pulling and picking at holsters because I want to make sure they're the best. So several of them. Okay. But always either good quality leather, and or good Voltron or Kydex and somebody that gives a damn about the quality of their product. Because I picked up holsters, Stealth Gear. I believe that was the name of the company. I bought it from a gun show like 7 years ago for a Glock 19. Never even put the damn thing on. One day I needed a double mag pouch, right? Couldn't find my double mag pouches. So I looked like, oh, I bought this like from the gun show like 7 years ago. Double mag pouch, double stack, cool. Put it on my belt, walked out the house, got in my truck, got to my destination, got out my truck, my mags fell on the ground. Why? Because the damn magazine holster broke and snapped in half.
Wow.
Right? So make sure you guys are buying good quality stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Mychael?
Most of my stuff is I got a lot of NSR tactical holsters. That's kind of where I run on a lot of my range belts and things like that. T-Rex Arms. I run some of their stuff. I partnered with 77 Solutions. He makes great holsters. He made a few of mine too. I got a bunch from him too. And if anybody needs it, wants to get a pretty 15% off, you can use my discount code MJSF33. You can get 15% off. There go that 77 Solutions. There it is.
Okay, nice.
Oh man, shout out to.
What is that newspaper? What is that headline on?
Well,
that?
this is just an example of what 77 can do. When I say custom rig, so this is a holster for the Truth.
Oh, okay, for the Truth. Okay.
And this one is the wrapping of Tulsa, Black Wall Street in Tulsa. This is the original newspaper that actually came out, and he wrapped the holster in a newspaper.
Wow. Oh, you mean this is the actual newspaper? It was an actual...
This is the actual newspaper from the incident.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So you can literally sit, and so when people order the Truth, if they order the holster from him, they can literally sit and read the story.
Wow.
On their holster.
Wow. And you've got a piece of history in your hands when it comes to that newspaper. Yeah.
So. Yeah. So, but 77, he does great stuff. He really does.
Okay, cool. This one's definitely the last one that I'm moving on because we were talking about Richard from BWE, so we'll let him get we're talking bad about him. We'll let him get a question in here. He says, Kevin, how effective is training without having the threat of being killed when you are training? I will not respond the same way if I'm facing a paper bad guy than if I'm facing a real killer.
I answered them in the chat, and here's the thing. We've been talking about that, and I say and look, I'm a baby when it comes to the training world with only 20 years in it. There are guys, you take your Clint Smiths and you take these legends, and that's a conversation that goes around a lot though. The best we can do is whatever tricks I will tear your brain up in my training. I flat out will. But that's because that's the stress you're going to be under when you get out into the real world. However, the best thing you can honestly do if you really want to get the best prepared for the real world you can is force on force. Like a good force on force training. I know Tactical Response offers one. A good force on force training class. Also, I'm trying to think of my buddy's name. Not his name, but his training company, IDQS. But I'll share that in the link down here too. But he actually runs a good one. You need to get some force on force. Todd Fossey. You need to get some force on force training because that's going to be the best thing when you're actually getting punched in the face. When I'll openly tell you guys. So I went out to DDI to do a TV show for Carbon TV a few years ago, and I'll never forget that experience. And it was force on force. It wasn't my first time in one of those classes, but it was my first time where they took me to a damn ghost town, right, with all these different setups, and our opponents were legit Marine Recon and UFC fighters. Those were our opponents, and they kicked my ass for 3 days. Right? Like, I'm not lying. Now, I got to up on them a couple of times, right? But ultimately, I'm going against Marine Recon dudes, and it's like 4 of them, and then 3 professional UFC fighters, right? However, I do distinctly remember one particular part of the training is when we were running through this abandoned slaughterhouse, and I had to rescue the damsel in distress that was at the back of the slaughterhouse. And I come out, and I got this sim gun, this Glock 17 sim gun that did not work. But I come out.
That's real training, man. That could actually happen. I know it's a Glock, but it could happen to a Glock.
So I get ambushed. These guys are, kicking my ass. They're giving me the business, beat me up so bad that the organizer had to eventually say, okay, he's not going to stop fighting, so you're going to have to kill him. So just stop, right? Because they weren't like trying to hurt me, but at the same time it was exhausting. So I finally get up and I'm steadily running through. My blood is pumping. Then all of a sudden. Okay, and there were some Daniel Defense guys there too because they provided the guns. All of a sudden, all right, and this big ass warehouse. I'm getting shot at. Didn't see that coming. So after I get attacked, now I got guys with AK-47s, of course, blanks, but out of nowhere, just shooting at me from behind, machinery in the whole 9 yards. So I drop a couple of them, keep running. My heart is doing this. I mean, it's doing that as fast as possible. I ran, I got my hoodie, so don't wear a hoodie if you ever run through a slaughterhouse, by the way. It's not a good thing. My hoodie flies up as I'm running so damn fast, catches me, and hangs my black ass from the damn, damn thing. Finally, I ripped myself down.
This should have been this needs to be a movie.
Dude, this was an
needs to be a
experience.
movie.
But Jim, the guy that owns the company, catches me when I get to cover. He catches me, and he looks at me. He's like, "Hey, Kevin, look at me. Look at me." And it took him like 30 seconds to get my attention. And he puts his hand on my chest and is like, "You got to stop. You got to stop. You got to stop," right? And then my heart finally settled down. And since I've been in real world situations, I can tell you that force on force class put me right back there. So the short answer is do force on force training. You'll hate it because you're going to be tired. You're going to be beat up, but you'll love it because it will save your life. Yeah. It's the closest thing you can do.
Yeah. And I think I'll say this. Was it like Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face?
Punched in the face, yeah.
And then I'll say this to Richard from BWE, who, he's my buddy. But there's a lot of guys like Richard, my friend Walter's like this too. They have a lot of freaking bravado, because they're tough guys. And they are legitimately tough guys, right? These are guys that build stuff with their hands. They're solid, all-American mofos. You know what? When you catch a bullet, a lot of that will disappear real fast in a cloud of your own blood. So I get it, the whole bravado, I'm a badass type of nonsense or whatever, but reality hits pretty hard, man. Like like Mike Tyson was saying, and I'm telling you something. If you really believe that bravado is going to get you through everything, I know. I grew up in New York City. Bravado got me through a lot. It doesn't get you through everything, though. So you might want to think about that.
Get out there and take it real. And look, man, I don't walk around like a tough guy. I don't try to intimidate people. But one thing I do is constantly train. And I told the story all over the airwaves of the guy that tried to murder my wife and 2 kids. The reason, here's another thing that people don't realize about training, and this is and I know we want to move on, but here's the thing I'll tell you. How many people do you think have a natural fear of lions?
Anyone who's sane.
Right, like naturally.
Yeah.
But how many people, what percentage of those people have actually ever really stood foot, like in the same room with no cage with a lion? You just know that lion's a problem. Yeah. You're like, hey, that's not what I want to do. Now, you get the extreme people that pet them and raise them and all that crap, and sometimes they get killed too. But ultimately, we know, hey, lions, I'm not messing with a lion. Well, when you train, you become the lion.
Yeah.
You will be surprised how much somebody that is well trained up can thwart a situation just because the enemy sees you like, oh, damn, that's a lion. The reason why, even with my wife and kids, I didn't have to actually press the trigger is because the guy realized this is not a fight I want. I don't know what the hell he just did, why he's moving that way, why he's looking at me. I don't even know what kind of damn gun that is. But this is not a fight I want because the presence of force is too much. I'm not ready to deal with this. Even criminals want to live. The ones that don't, we don't call them criminals. We say they're suicidal. Right? So even your standard criminal wants to live. If you can be such a force through your training, I tell people, the more you train, the less you'll shoot.
Yeah.
Think about that. The more you train, the less you'll shoot. Either people are going to recognize you as the lion, all right, and you won't need to, or you're going to need less rounds because you're that damn good with the few you have.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. It's listen, you know what? Listen, when I first started doing this, I remember I thought like a lot of people do, listen, you just have to have a lot of badass guns. That's all you need. Right. I remember the first time one of my friends who, he was in Iraq. He did a lot of combat missions, and this is on video. If you go way back, I don't know if we had to remove it from Facebook, but there's a video I did like what we call mud torture test, and my friend made me put on like a vest with the steel plates in it just so he could laugh at me, because I thought my heart was gonna explode. I was like, dude, I would rather just take this thing off. So, and then he would do things like, that's my friend Yak Yaz. He would force me to go prone, all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, what is the deal? Why are we doing this? As time goes on, and I definitely don't do as much training as you say, Kevin. I'll be the first person to admit that. I'm not trying to say anything other than I could look at people. There's a lot of people around me who think they're badasses and all that kind of stuff, and they can't go prone. Here's the thing. Some shit really actually starts happening in the real world, and you don't know how to get down flat, if little things like that, that's just one element, one little thing. If you don't know how to do that, you are the same as those dudes we see in the movies, or when we're looking at videos from Afghanistan or Iraq, someone with an AK and they're not even aiming and they're just popping off rounds, right? You're the same thing. All you have is bravado that you think is going to get you through stuff. You don't even know why you want to do those kinds of things. So we all need to do it. We all need to think about it and consider it, and it's not trying to put a guilt trip on anyone. I think it's just the reality. So so here's BWE. Here's his response. He says, Hank, I've been shot twice. It doesn't hurt as much as people say. Okay. There's a lot of things, physicals and mentally, that hurt a lot more. Okay.
Well,
so
some people have been shot once and aren't here to talk about it.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on for this, right? Because there's some other stuff I want to talk about, and probably I think we got like a little bit over half an hour. So while I've got you guys here, have you guys been keeping up with this thing coming out of New York City with Mayor Bloomberg in regards to stop and frisk? Have you guys been keeping track of that?
I got information on it.
Okay. You got a little bit of information. What about you, Kevin?
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm just loving everybody finally hearing the recording of his little recording, his secret recording, but about stock, no, educate me. What's up with him now?
No. So I want to talk about this a little bit while I have you here, Kevin. Obviously, we got Mike here as well. From what you've heard, what do you think about this? Let me just, if folks out there haven't kept track with this, basically, Bloomberg's out there. He's running for president, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, he's a Democrat this time. I think he ran New York City as a Republican. Let's just bear that in mind. But, I think that was just a function of switching parties so that he could, I think he found it easier to get into the Republican Party and become the mayor of New York City. He was actually the mayor 3 times because he actually had the laws changed in New York City to do all that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna tell you guys this honestly, right? So people on our side who are mad at Bloomberg because of this stop and frisk policy that he had, I personally believe it's unconstitutional. Not a fan of it. I grew up in New York City. I can tell you guys that every mayor of New York City in the last 30 years at least, if not more than that, believes in this same nonsense, okay, including Giuliani, right? So the same thing that we're hearing from Bloomberg, where he's basically saying, hey, you know what the problem is? It's the minorities. That's where we need to put the cops. We need to go get those minority kids, throw them up against the wall, frisk them, do this thing, do that thing. This is stuff that we've heard from people like Giuliani. There's folks out there who believe that same thing, that this is the problem, right? And in my personal opinion about this is it's very convenient. I think ultimately, I'm going to say this. I think we're all racist. Let's just be honest. We're talking about looking in the mirror. I think we're all racist in different levels and at different times. And there's lots of folks, including gun guys, that think that kind of stuff is okay. But today they might not think it's okay because they're not supporting Bloomberg. They don't want him to become president, etc. And think about yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, looking at that and thinking that's okay, how does it feel when people flip that on you and use it against you, saying we got to take these guns away from these old white guys, that are a problem? It's the same exact thing. You get mad about that and you feel like, hey, that's discrimination. Why are you doing this to me? It's the same thing. It doesn't matter where it comes from. To me, it doesn't matter if it comes from Bloomberg. It doesn't matter if it comes from Giuliani. It doesn't matter if it comes from anyone. That's not what the Constitution, what the Second Amendment is about. And that's not how we fix the problems that we have. And I personally don't believe that the problems that we have are purely based on what people's race are. But I know there's gun guys out there that believe, hey, these are the people that are the problem, and this is what we have to do to them. So, I mean, that's like my kind of little soapbox that I want to get here. What do you guys think about this?
some of the same things you said. I just feel like it's unconstitutional. I don't have a lot of information on it. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of it. I can watch a person a few times to kind of get a feel for them. It's unfortunate, but it's unconstitutional, and I think that it's only going to affect my young people, my minorities. I mean, black people, minorities in general, but mostly it really from my youth. People are 25 and younger. It's really going to affect us, and it's really going to it's not good. In New York City, I've been there, and I'm from Chicago, and it's a major city as well, and I know how walking down the street maybe with a hoodie on, and I've been that guy. I'm from South Side of Chicago. I know how it is. I walked down in the street many a times and been stopped by cops, and just because of how I looked and my age and maybe having a hoodie on or something like that. So if they had the right to stop and frisk me because of that, I don't know how that would have ended up. And I think it's unsafe. I don't know.
And I think that everyone thinks that everyone who is carrying in a city like that. Let's take New York City. It's basically you're supposed to have the right to defend yourself and be able to carry and all that, but they're a may issue, not a shall issue. So I think you have to be really well connected, very wealthy, or all those things in order to actually legally carry in New York City. And there's been lots of incidents of people, not just black people, of white people. I can't remember the exact name right now, but I remember back in the 80s, a famous incident with a white guy that these black guys approached him in the subway in New York. They really wanted to rob him. They were asking him the time. The deal is that someone asks you the time, you look at your watch, they hit you in the face, rob you or something like that. And he defended himself. I remember it was a white Jewish guy. I can't remember the exact name. Someone will hit me with that while we're talking about this. And he, according to New York, illegally had a firearm on him, and he defended himself. And I remember as a kid, I supported that guy, right? I didn't support the young black guys that were trying to rob him that he killed. And I'll tell you why. Because I could put myself in his shoes. That had happened to me in New York City, right? So as a young black guy living in New York City, I realized I needed to defend myself. And in order to do that in a place where they make it pretty much impossible for you to do that, where they take away your Second Amendment, you have to break the law in order to do it. So this whole idea of everyone who's out there in New York City, even if you're going to stop and frisk people just because of what they look like, because they look like this and they're armed doesn't make them a bad guy. Right? This could be someone trying to defend themselves and their family. Go ahead.
Well, I know Bloomberg, I'm very familiar with the stop and frisk, and I know he recently has apologized, saying that it was a bad policy. All right. He kind of pulled the same thing that the Clintons did, saying that, it was a bad idea now looking back on things. But one thing I don't respect is you can't pull back the violation of human rights. I don't accept your apology because you were being informed that it was a violation when you were doing it. So there is no I really didn't know this thing, right? And I this is what I think. I think that we all, to a degree, carry a prejudice inside of us. Not necessarily maybe be racist, but a prejudice. We all carry different prejudices. And what I would say about that is this. Because of the same media that we all blame to say, oh, media does this, and this, right? Be careful of you being a victim of the same media. Because when you go back, I don't know, let's just round it back to a decade, when people are like, hey, why do people of color constantly vote for people that go against their own best interest? And you will start having those conversations. And then when it comes to firearms and so many of these subsets, it's like, well, the violence is only in the hood. They're the ones that are out of control with the guns. You can't have it both ways. You can't on one hand say, I can't believe you guys are voting your freedom away. And then on the other hand, when I click on your Facebook page, it's, oh, those idiots. They're the ones that are causing the problems. They're the reason why we're getting gun control. Because the media is going to give you exactly what they want to give you. And you can fall subject to the same media, and your prejudices can be amplified. So what I like to tell people is this. Same way when it comes to dealing with cops and the 2A, right? Let's take Virginia as the last example. All the sanctuary counties highlighted all the cops that may be doing the wrong thing. So there was a meeting recently in Virginia where the cops put everybody out, the meeting.
They kicked everyone out, yeah.
They kicked everybody
out. Except media.
And then when you take those particular states, for example, when you take them everybody's like, look at those red coats, tyrannical, they're this, they're that, right? Everybody's up in arms, right? And, you know, they're like, and any other cop, and there are plenty of cops, and then you got the video circling around where the cop's like, I'm just doing my job, you know, and all those things, right? And people are expressing the way that they feel. And they want everybody to be behind the fact that these cops are doing the wrong thing. They are not upholding the Constitution. They are violating their red coats. They are not standing for true American values. But then, when somebody from urban America says, yo, they've been pulling this crap on us for forever.
It sounds like hypocrisy, right?
It's not. No, no. What you're talking about is different than what I'm talking about. I'm like, man, tyranny is tyranny, bro. It doesn't matter where it comes from or who's doing it, right? And I'm not saying that all cops are bad. Look, and people get shot. I'm like, dude, you know, do realize I spent 10 years at the PD, right? Most of my close friends are still out there doing this job. I sit and help out with several programs that back the blue. I have marched with cops down the street in areas where they've been shot as they gave their testimonies. I've donated money to the rehab work when cops have been hurt in the line of duty. I'm anything but anti-cop, but I am very, very pro-justice, right? And I don't give a damn who you are. You do the wrong thing, you're doing the wrong thing. So when people are saying, look at those cops, and then when people from over here be like, yeah, but we've been telling y'all that for a minute, but when it comes to your guns, it's horrible. But when it comes to all the other freedoms that you say the guns protect us from, it can't possibly be happening. So people have to cast away their own prejudice to really get to what I like to call we the people, not them the government, but we're not going to get there if we keep our blinders on.
Yeah, I think ultimately these things that we allow, it's like the conversation that people have had about why did gun control laws start happening in America, right? Sometime after slavery was abolished, gun control laws start coming into effect. A lot of people are okay with that. They're okay with it because they don't really think it's going to affect them. You know, and I think it's the same thing with this stop and frisk thing, that we need to be serious about this, or ask ourselves where we're at with that, because you can't say it's okay to do this to these people and then later on when someone uses that same tactic against you, like, oh no, wait a second, you know, this is a violation, how dare you do this. At the same time, we cannot just come down on Bloomberg because he's running against Trump, you know, because he said this, and then not come down on the other people out there who believe the same damn thing, who did the same damn thing.
Man, I put up a post. You know, one of the things everybody likes to bring up, which is very valid, because it's very valid. It's the 1994 crime bill and all things that, right? You had the assault weapons ban. There was a lot of healthcare stuff wrapped up in that bill. You obviously had the incarceration rates. You obviously had your harsher penalties and all those different things that are wrapped up in that. And a lot of people like to say, hey, and I'm bringing it up because of the Trump point. Hey, look at what Hillary did. Look at what the Democrats did. Look at what they did to you guys. They took our guns. They put you in prison. Look, they're out to harm America totally. Cool. Big facts. Not arguing that, right? Bless you. You're correct. However, people started getting real mute when I said, did you guys realize that was a bipartisan effort and 49 Republicans voted for that bill? And then I put up an Instagram post and I listed out every single Republican that was on it and the state they're from. We can't have willful ignorance. This is a thing about freedom, not about political parties. Same way I would say Bloomberg is wrong for his things that affect freedom. It's the same way I called Trump out when he got wishy-washy on guns, right? Like, I'm not going to join the Trump hate parade. I'm not about that. I'm not about all the political bash this party, bash that party. When you step on the toes of freedom, I'm at your neck. That's where when you start dealing with people's rights, their civil rights, their human rights, and their rights to protect themselves, you get my attention, Republican or Democrat. But a lot of people like to keep that willful ignorance and like, the crime bill and the Democrats. And I'm like, dude, did you realize that in that bill, to make it short, that what the Republicans basically said when it came to the black community as part of that bill, what they basically said is, hey, you know what, 2/3 of this funding, we think that y'all gonna give back to community programs and welfare status. Democrats basically responded and said, yeah, dude, after we take all the fathers out of the household, we got to be able to sustain the communities. We got to give them something. They ain't just going to, go for this. We got to use the money to grease the wheels. The Republicans came back saying, look, check this out. You want the guns? We'll give you the guns. But you got to cut 2/3 of the funding because we don't believe that y'all should be giving them no money, even if you are taking. So you can lock them up and you can take guns, but you need to give us 2/3 of that funding back so we can use it for other stuff. Bet, cool. Then you got your bill. So don't come to me about one party or the other. that none of these parties, now you might find individual politicians that still understand what this country is about, right? Even if you disagree with them about a policy, they really kind of still get what we're out here to do. However, this two-party crap and this tribalism is going to get everybody in trouble, because if you name a bill that affects everybody around this country, tell me you can't find both parties' fingerprints on it.
Absolutely,
Right?
100%. That's the problem that we have, man, is the politicians.
Yep.
The politicians are the problem. I think that's what gets in the way. But we have to call it bad when it's bad, and that's the thing. Like I also don't like Bloomberg, right? But I'm not gonna join the pile on Bloomberg and forget the fact that Giuliani did the same thing. I'm not gonna forget the fact that Trump himself has said the same things. He was not mayor or anything like that, but he believes the same thing. So this is the reason why when he posted up something saying that Bloomberg's racist, he wound up pulling it down. I don't think it's really about people being racist or anything like that. At the end of the day, it's unconstitutional to do that. We don't do that. And no one in America, you can't say like, oh yeah, I believe in the Constitution, and then say you believe in that. That's not how this works, right? I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
You have to be, and that's what I try to get people to see all the time. Like, man, it's we the people over everything. Like, we got to get to that. It's we the people over everything. We can sit down as we the people and sit at the table and bicker and debate about whatever you want to bicker and debate about. I don't care where you come from, because guess what? As long as we are trying to get to a resolution of a thing, I'm okay with the conversation. But what we can't have is allowing the political overlords to keep us separate. We have to be able to sit down and say, hey man, you know what? At the end of the day, I don't care if you're black, white, Chinese, whatever you are, male, female, gay, straight, whatever. When stuff gets bad, if it goes bad, we all we got. Like immediately, like if it goes bad, my neighbor might be an old Jewish dude, but guess what, old Jewish dude? You my homie right now, because we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Right? So when it goes bad, it's going to go bad, and we are all we got. The everyday red-blooded American is all we got. We can bicker about race, we can bicker about finances, we can bicker about politics, we can bicker about healthcare, we can bicker and try to come to a resolution about all those different things in life, raising kids and the whole 9 yards. But when it all boils down to it, when people talk about a boogaloo, or however you pronounce that thing, when they talk about that, if that fantasy was to play out, who you got? You're going to have that person that you were arguing about whether they carry one in the chamber standing next to you. You're going to have the black dude that you cut off in traffic and y'all start yelling racial slurs at. That's now going to be your ally. So we need to understand, when it all goes bad, it is we the people against everything. And if we the people truly do take that mindset back from the government, because what people are doing now is saying, you know what, Hank, I disagree with you about thing ABC, right? And because I disagree with you about thing ABC politically, I'm then going to use my power to then amplify the political presence of this person that I support, because I'm mad at you. And so I'm looking for anybody that believes in me and that's not going to contest me. And politicians love power, and they give you a clap and they say yes. And then all of a sudden you go out there and then you're sitting back in the barbershop like, y'all see what happened? Oh man, we got to grab our guns. Well, now all of a sudden we friends again, right? So people are allowing anything to distract them away from their brethren. If it boiled down to it, I'm not going to be able to call on Trump, Obama, or nobody else. I'm going to be able to call on Mike, Hank, the dude outside, the cat that I still can't believe 6 feet tall driving a Volkswagen. I'm all them.
Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there.
So we really got to get to the point to this. It's like literally, man, we the people over everything.
Yeah, Night Train says, everyone remember how people in this country came together right after 9/11. Yeah. It's easy to forget, though, you know, for lots of folks out there. Did you want to add something, Mike?
Kind of the same things. I hate to get into politics and stuff like that. That's not really my thing. But I agree. I agree with, you know, a lot of things that both you guys were saying, as far as, and as long as they're not, you know, coming after my freedoms, I'm the same way. Like I look at Democrats and Republicans. I don't consider myself neither. They're all controlled by the same people at the end of the day. As long as you're not coming after my freedoms.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a general thing for people around the country, no matter where you are, right? It's freedom and the right, like specifically what we're talking about as gun guys is the right to defend yourself, the right to protect yourself, the Second Amendment, and that's what you need. So there's lots of, so let's say like I live in rural America, farm country, and there's predominantly white people. Those white people there, that believe in that, don't care what laws you make. Okay, and if we talk about an inner city somewhere, right, where it's people of color and they believe they have the right to defend themselves, they also don't care about what laws you make. They want to defend themselves and their families. So when we're talking about these things, I agree. We don't have to. Everyone's got their politics or whatever, religion, etc. Things that people feel, hey, these aren't things we want to touch on. But we need to be straight about it. It's not okay for one person to do this and then we hate them because we don't like what they have a D or R on the end of their thing, but then it's wrong for then it's okay for that guy over there to do it because he's on my side. It's not okay. Yeah, and there's a comment now. Brian Quick says it's never going to be we the people. Humans are naturally hierarchical, and someone will always want power. Here's the thing. True.
I don't disagree with that. That's actually a factual statement. Here's the problem, though. If we the people controlled the people in power, we'll be better off. Like, think about it like this. Just take Trump, for example. If everybody who put him in office, after he made those several anti-gun statements and ban bump stocks and all that, what if everybody universally said, you know what, you lied, you ain't voting for you again?
Yeah.
You think the next politician would have turned around and did the same thing? They're like, well, I'll tell you what, if nothing else, they mean that shit.
Yeah, they'll get up on it. He might get up on it. That's the thing that I say to do in these circumstances, right? We need to turn around to that guy and say, hey, wait a second. Now, you might think you can't do it, but maybe one person going at him on Twitter about it, or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, but if there's 1 million gun guys saying, hey, what's up with this? I think he's going to hear that message, right?
Right. And we have to just get to that. And I'm not a big fan of saying, and I'm not coming down on Brian or anything, but I'm not a big fan of saying because it's hard, let's not try. We have to, because I'm stuck in it, man. But I woke up one day about 2 years ago realizing that we are literally the leaders of the world. Our generation, we are the leaders of the world right now. Because if time goes by so fast, I remember waking up saying, "Oh, the adults will take care of that." You know what I mean?
I see where you're going. Yeah.
I'm that adult. You blink and you're the one in that position. So, what are we doing? And I think it all starts off small. And maybe we will never get it to totally understand it's we the people. But you know what? If I got 4 people tonight on this podcast to go, yes, you know what, we the people, that's a victory.
Yeah, I would rather fight. I think it's the fight mentality that we were talking about, right? It's not about, listen, I want to win. Everybody wants to win. But I want to know before everything that I fought. That's the thing, if I lose because I didn't even fight, okay, that's a worse thing to me than fighting and then losing. I don't know. There's, I think this is just a thing that we have going on in America now. We can blame it on whatever we want to, but a lot of people only want to take up fights that they're guaranteed to win. Am I wrong on that? Am I the only person that sees it that way?
Yeah, that's just how it is naturally. Naturally for a lot of people, a lot of people are just they don't have that. Like you say, nobody wants to die. And nobody wants to be in a situation where they lose. I mean, at least that's how I feel. So
yeah, everyone wants to back the winner. People. No one wants to be that person out there saying, "Hey, something's wrong here. This is not right." Everyone wants to I guess it's like that high school kind of mentality that you don't want to be the person that stands out in high school, that you're the weird guy, saying what's going to happen. I just don't feel that way. If I feel like, hey, this thing's happening, I need to be able to say that, even though I know, trust me, one of the things I've learned in life is, especially when you're telling people something bad's going to happen and you're trying to warn them of that, and then that thing actually happens, you see, you would think that people would then respect you or love you for that. What actually happens is they hate you because you told them about that thing and then you were right about it. But ultimately, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. What's right is right. You know, so
Yeah.
let me see. We got some time here. What other things are what's on your what kind of stuff are you thinking about most right now, Mike? I mean, we got into like your past. What kind of stuff? You know, what's on your mind nowadays?
As far as anything new,
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
you're the youth. Me and Kevin are the old dudes. Tell us
yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
youth thinking about, huh?
Well, as far as the youth, I still I still feel like we like you guys say, you guys are leaders right now.
Hmm.
I feel like the youth, we have my generation, we really hard headed. Like me, if you can tell, just look at just in this podcast here.
Hmm.
Sometimes I don't do a lot of talking. In this moment in my life, I like to listen more than I talk.
Hmm.
When you got wise counsel, you got wise men in front of you like KD and yourself, Hank, you know, you gotta sometimes you just gotta listen and take notes and soak up stuff like a sponge. My my people, man, my youth, we right now we just seem to talk more and and not really listen to our elders, and that's just a problem I have. That's something I want to change personally. I'm working on a lot of things myself. I'm starting a nonprofit organization here in Chicago to help inner city kids escape even gun violence and teach them about firearm safety. And that's something I picked up watching Kevin Dixie.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm just really straightforward
Hmm.
with it. Yourself too, Hank. I've been watching you since I was a freshman in high school. And
Okay, you're gonna really?
Yo,
I don't know. Oh boy. No, that's cool, man. I respect that. I respect that.
I admire everything
Mhm.
you and your wife do. Lola is amazing. You have a
Thank you.
great partner.
Yeah, I do.
Uh,
Hmm.
your wife too. I've never met her in person, but I know if she's dealing with choke crazy stuff, she got to be super too.
Hmm.
yeah.
But yeah, man, we have to stand up. My my generation. We have to stand up. We have to do more. I feel like we are great fighters, though. I mean, we are tough as nails. I do feel that, but there's still a lot that needs to be learned from us. So, but we'll get there.
Hmm.
We'll get there. So,
I listen. I feel good just hearing you say it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
The perspective that you have on it. I feel good about that. You know. I think when you're young, you know. I guess maybe we're always more dramatic and more pessimistic or something like that when we're younger. Hopefully, you get older and you get less dramatic. And more confident in the future, and you realize, like Kevin is saying, you come to this point of view where you start realizing, you're Mr. So and so, right? Instead of little Johnny, you're Mr. So and so, and then you start taking responsibility for that. I think it's a good thing that you're here, man. I think that's the important thing. I know Kevin, you always talk about this. We need to get people here to the table,
Yep.
thinking and talking about these things first, and then we take steps from there.
Yep.
that's-
Get them to the
that's-
table. Can we show knives?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I didn't know we could.
We
So,
can't hold guns while we're live, but if you guys have
Can't do
something on social media or whatever, I could
I
roll
know
it
it's
in.
only like 10 minutes left, but I do want
Yeah.
to say this about Mike.
You want to
Mike is
uh-huh.
um, anybody out there, which I know we're going to give our sign-offs and Instagram and stuff here in a few minutes, but make sure you go support Mike when he gives his stuff.
Mhm.
We have to let him know we appreciate him for even just being open and honest with his experiences, right?
Mhm.
And then he is an ambassador to a group of people that we would never reach.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to make sure that we are showing him support, because it's going to get heavy on him sometimes. He's going to feel like quitting. He's going to be like, this is worthless. It's going to happen.
Yeah, let's
right?
do it now. I don't have my Lola. Where's my phone? Let's. What's your social media? What social media are you on?
I'm start off with Facebook is MJ's Firearms LLC.
Okay.
My Instagram is MJ's Firearms 33.
Hey, MJ, hold on, man. You're dealing with a whole bunch of people over 40. You got to go slow down, bro. Hold on. So, MJ Firearms on Facebook. Let me
Yeah,
type
hold
this
on.
in.
Yeah, me too. Hold on one second.
LLC.
Yeah, MJ
Oh,
Firearms. And
Okay.
I'm gonna roll this in while I'm doing it so people can find it. MJ's with the apostrophe, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Firearms.
And Firearms Finesse, of course.
Oh, I
LLC.
guess I put like 2 apostrophes in my thing. Okay.
Yeah. I put one.
All right, I see it here, and I'm gonna follow that. And then you said your Insta. What's the Insta one? Hold on a second. Let's Switch from
No
stranger.
space.
Nobody look at what I'm looking at on my Stranger Palooza Instagram. Don't worry about that. Don't tell Lola about that either. Okay, MJ's.
Instagram is all lowercase, MJ's Firearms with an S. So MJS Firearms with an S.
Okay.
33.
Found it also there. Let me see. Yeah, I'm following you. So, and if you guys are on Instagram or Facebook, go there and like something that MJ threw up there right now. As Kevin is saying, you know, let's try to support him and get more people back there following him. I'm sorry, Kevin, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I figured we should do this early and let everyone get up on it, and then we'll remind them of that later.
Whoa, what the? Hey.
What happened?
What? I don't.
What?
Okay. All right. None.
What?
You followed some nice pages, bro. Okay. Moving on.
Oh, you're now seeing what came through. I told you, don't pay attention to that. Yeah.
Okay.
This is not the Facebook. This is not the Facebook profile.
Right, so I want to give a special shout. I want to give a special shout out to Special K. So it takes me a while to get stuff, but I did get this.
Oh, cool.
So,
man,
everybody's
getting one of these ballad songs.
Yeah. So I got this thing, and he said it's an official Filipino fighting knife.
Boom.
Right.
Yep.
So
is that which one of us? Yeah. Oh, okay. That was the youth. Don't worry about it. Yeah. That.
So I want to thank him for this. So I actually have. Here's the cool part. Pro Knife Thrower Jason. If you guys don't know who that is, please follow Pro Knife Thrower on Instagram. He's the guy that could draw a knife from concealment and throw it and land it in a target faster than Jerry could get a gun on target. And shoot.
I heard about this.
Yeah, like the dude is legit. So he's actually going to be an instructor at Train and Learn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna show this to him and see if he can show me a couple of things. But I want to say, really, man, salute. Thank you to the special.
Can you do the whole flip out with that? Are you?
Absolutely, I cannot.
Oh, okay.
Nope, I'm gonna do it slow. I'm scared of these damn things.
Yeah, I can't do it
nice and slow.
Yeah, you got to get it. We were talking about training, right, KD? You got to get the trainer ballad song.
That's why I have one of the best knife guys in the world coming to my event where he can teach me stuff.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And then. Before we go, Swag. Okay. I know last time I was on here, people kept saying, "Hey man, when is Proper gonna come out with some stuff that looks like jeans?" And I was like, I don't know. They need to hurry up. I was kind of not being. Really
don't tell me they came out with jeans.
Oh my God.
What?
Here you go.
Bye-bye.
So these are the lithos. All right. They are not heavy denim, but they are definitely not what you're used to. But yeah, these are the lithos. These are just now releasing. So yeah, but you get essentially jeans.
Oh, okay. So it's got secret pockets.
You know what? So I've read the designs, obviously, but yeah, you got a nice little PMAG pocket there. All right. Let's see what else you got here. You got some flexibility in them. Nice little stretch. I'm trying to keep them up on camera without.
Yeah, you're full screen right now. By the way, Special K says you're very welcome, sir.
Yeah. So as the tag says, heavy duty combed cotton with a hint of stretch. That's where I'm getting the stretch from. Reinforced at stress points, so you're not going to blow out the crotch, basically. And it has a relaxed fit. And
that's the one thing that I worry about the most, KD. I always want to make sure, I don't blow out the crotch.
Yeah, man, you don't want to blow out the crotch. And can you imagine running on range and things just dangling? That's not good. Okay. So yeah, you definitely get the M4 mag. You get good solid stitching. You get some little extra reinforced stitching right in the knees. So yeah, I'm going to be wearing.
That's cool. What's the price point on that? Do you know?
I believe these are coming in right around $45 or $50.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, they're not horribly expensive at all. But yeah, so they got them, and then they got them in a different color too. So you get them in 3 different colors.
Is there
these
blue?
Are more the blue?
Okay.
Yeah, these are like blue jeans. These look just like blue jeans.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you got to try not to look tactical as much as possible.
Yeah.
I mean.
And these are going to be sleek, more like. So after I get through beating them up,
Yeah. Can we get some Stonewash? Can we bring Stonewash back?
You know what, man? No.
No. Can't get Stonewash back.
Proper has jeans now, so go over to proper.com and get you some jeans.
Yeah. Shout out to Proper out there, supporters of Kevin Dixie. We appreciate that. I'm gonna have to get up on some Proper stuff, Katie. What's up, man?
Dude, I told you before. Hold on. You're supposed to do something you ain't do. What you supposed to do?
Who, me?
No, wait. Yeah, you.
Oh, there's a lot of things I'm supposed. There's a lot of things I'm supposed to do that I didn't do. You mean in this podcast I'm supposed to do something? I forgot.
Dude, we'll have to. I got you something sent to you from Proper.
From
You
Proper?
probably need to go through all them boxes of stuff you get.
Oh, okay. Something came to us from Proper, Lola?
It should have came like months ago.
No, she said nothing came. She wants to know what the jeans are called. It's Lithos, right? At Proper?
Lithos, yeah.
Lithos.
L-I-T, because I'm remedial. Let me read them again.
Yeah. You need to get them to make the KD Burl versions.
Lithos.
Burl. Okay, Lithos, Lola.
Don't you worry. Me and Proper are working some things out. All right, we're gonna have some good conversations about stuff.
Nice.
And if anybody wanted to see her, I'll pull them inside out so you can see that they.
Hold on. Let me go full screen. Hold on one sec. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so you can see the reinforced stitching there.
The stitching looks good.
Yeah. So I'll reinforce stuff even for your pockets. It's reinforced and double stitched at the hem. So it's main shit. I'll be honest. This is the first pair I'm getting to actually test. I've known about them, but now I'm about to start testing them. But everything looks good. This is what I do. I sit at home and I go through stuff like this.
Yeah. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Lola, I believe that Proper has like some kind of affiliate program. So, listen, I am 100% for getting up on affiliate programs. It helps to fund. The revolution has to be funded, people. So I know that Proper does have an affiliate thing.
I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better, more personal, because we're just like a month and a half away. Mm-hmm. I will make Hankamus Maximus personal introduction to the dude at Proper at NRA. How about that?
Okay, cool. Okay, NRA.
You better come to NRA.
Okay. See, here's the thing with the NRA. The NRA is happening the same time as the NAB show this year in Vegas. So I don't know. I might come out there for one day only.
Okay. Yeah,
and
the
then
pants are.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry, man, to cut you off. The pants are. I'm looking at the website now. The pants are $60.
60. Okay.
And when you compare them to other denim jeans on the market from tactical companies.
Yeah. Oh, mine that I'm wearing right now, I paid closer to $200 for. Yeah. So, but I got these a long time ago. There were a lot of companies that weren't getting into doing denim or looking less tactical back then. So, I enjoy seeing that there's more companies doing it. I think 511's doing stuff. But it's good that Proper's doing it. I know you're doing a lot of stuff with Proper. So
it's all good. So they send me an email talking about I can't wear my other jeans anymore. Like, dude, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What?
You don't want to see?
Were you wearing tactical jeans from a company before or now?
No, I'm talking about like just regular jeans. Like if I go to the store and they're like, "Hey, those Propers," like, no, man, just like came out the store, dude. Like, now take them off.
Yeah. Okay, let's. Okay, Lola. Oh, Lola already put up a link, by the way. Lola already has a link out there for anyone who wants to get up on the Lithos. And if you go through that link, you help support us a little bit. A little bit of that, some change comes out of that. Comes back to Hank Strange over here, So, Steve Dave says he needs black denim. I thought that's what the first one you were showing was black denim.
No, it's a graphite.
Oh.
This is graphite. Then there's the blue, and then there's like a coyote color. I didn't see the solid black because first thing I'm on is like, where's the black, dude? Mm-hmm. I want the black. But they don't have the black out yet. But I'm sure it's coming. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Do you have, go ahead, Mike.
Coyote now? Like, can you show in the camera? Do you actually have the coyote tan ones?
I don't have those because I'm not the coyote dude. I know that's your thing, though. I should have.
No, I like
thought about
that. Coyote.
Yeah, but the coyote, it's literally coyote. That's the color of it. Mm-hmm. They call it something different, but I'm a dude, so I got like 7 colors in my brain. That's coyote or boy.
Okay. All right, listen, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you guys to smash the thumbs ups right now. We're going to go through this. I'm going to start with Kevin. I'm going to let Kevin tell you guys how you can support him, places to go, how you can keep in touch with KD in between the breaks here. When we don't see KD up on here, you guys should be following him and keeping track of all his goings-ons. So tell the folks how they can do that, Kevin.
I appreciate it, man. So you can follow me on all the social medias from YouTube throughout everything. It's The Real NOC on all your social medias. You can also look up Kevin Dixie, D as in dog, IXIE. If you want to support, go on to grab merch at the Shopify store, noc-wear.myshopify.com. You can also keep up on my social media pages. Training. People forget a lot that I'm a trainer, so training is picking up this year. We have Minneapolis, Minnesota, a suburb of, up on the calendar this year. We also have several teachers in South Carolina, obviously Missouri, working on Indiana, and working on Florida. So you guys, you see that training, hop into training, because 100% of the proceeds from my training go back to the work that I do. So every time you do it, you're helping out with two missions and two causes at the same time. So sign up for the training. I should be down at, if you're going to the USCCA show in Kansas City, I should be there giving a presentation this year. So look forward to that. We're finalizing some things on that, so I should be down there. Also, look for me to go to Gunathon in Virginia. So if you're in the Virginia area, in the Ashburn area, right outside of DC, and you know, Virginia obviously is a hotbed right now. So I'm gonna go up there with GOA and do my thing. GOA invited me up, so I'm gonna go up and do my thing. Also, I'll be at the NRA show in Nashville, so you can catch me there. I'll also be having a train and learn event Memorial Day weekend. If you are any business, Harry Holsters, Andrew Leather, all those type of guys, or trainers, you need to look at the train and learn event. Trust me, it is professional development for our industry, and it is a benefit. So you really should look at it, and the cost is so low. And whether you're like just an influencer that's only got 4 or 5 videos out, as long as you are trying, the event is for you. Writers, bloggers, podcasters, whole 9 yards. It's for everybody. And what else besides that? Let's see. I think that is all the places I have to. Oh, Black Guns Matter. I'm going to be bringing Maj back in St. Louis, and we're going to kind of do a Black Guns Matter Aiming for the Truth collaboration March 22nd. So I'll be at USCCA March 20th and 21st, and then I'll be back in St. Louis March 22nd for that event. So that's the other event that's coming up. And I think that's it. So, yeah, get out there, grab merch, sign up for training, show up to the events that I'm at, support the companies that support us, man. Buy from Proper. Because they are supporting the mission of Aiming for the Truth. They are behind it. They are really about this We the People stuff. Canic USA, get guns from them. And all the Breakthrough Clean, support those guys. And Barnauls, all these companies you see me speaking about, it's a reason why I'm talking about them, and it's not because I need free stuff from them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. On the subject of the pants, Brian Quick wants to know, does Proper make those pants in red? Richard Monder, I'm going to go through this real quick, sorry. Richard Monder says, do the pockets take lock mags? And Bricks wants to know Coyote and like dark chocolate. So
yeah, 3 colors, basically graphite, Coyote, and denim. Your standard blue jean denim.
Okay.
Yes, the pocket can hold an M4 mag, so I'm sure it'll hold a Glock mag.
Right.
And no, they don't come in red.
No. So there you go. All right. So Mike, once again, please reiterate to the folks out there how they can follow you, how they can support you, all the different ways people can communicate with you, etc.
Sure you done, Katie? Nothing else you gotta add?
No.
I know you.
Oh, I know he's not done. Don't encourage him to start up
yeah,
again.
I'm pretty sure I remember something.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
All jokes aside, for people who want to follow me, again, Facebook, MJ's Firearms LLC, Instagram, MJ's Firearms 33. I'll be really heavily on YouTube this year. I plan on getting into that pretty heavily. I'll be. If you want to purchase some merch from me, t-shirts, I got patches and things like that, you can go on my website or any firearms, mjsfirearms.com, no spaces. Also, new things this year you can be expecting from me. Follow me mostly on Instagram. I'll be at Ingram, USCCA. I'm an official partner with USCCA now. So if you need any insurance, contact me. My email is mjsfirearms@gmail.com. Jesus, so much. I mean, I'll be at USCCA, their convention. A lot of training. I can't even count. I'll be at a lot of KD stuff again. I'm alumni at his school, Tactical Response. I'll be at a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Good stuff. Listen, we're also doing stuff with USCCA. We've had them on. I'm not trying to force anything down anyone's throat. You guys might want to think about some of this stuff, especially with what we talked about today. I would definitely encourage you guys. I'm sure there's a bunch of different questions and things like that you have for folks on here. Not just KD, but definitely reach out to him on those. But there's questions, comments, or support that you have that you could throw in Mike's direction at MJ's Firearms is much appreciated by me, and I'm sure Kevin Dixie as well as Mychael. So please, guys, do that. Help out, share this video, let people know about this. you know, hopefully things like that never happen to any of us. We live and leave this world without doing it, but, you know, inevitably it's going to happen to some people. So after everything goes down, then, you know, you got to deal with these things. So I'm going to ask everyone out there to support Harry's Holsters that supports us, as well as go to hankstrange.com. That's really the way right now. If you want to support us, go there, sign up for the email list that we have going. We'll keep you guys notified of all the different things that we're up to, ways that you could support us, things that we're doing. We still haven't gotten back to Facebook page, so I don't know. It's not looking very good with that. I'm still fighting it and all that. Maybe ultimately here would have to figure out a way to start up another one, but go to hankstrange.com. That's really the way to keep in touch with us that no one else is going to get in the way of. I really want to thank Kevin Dixie for coming on here, as he always does, and shooting straight with us, as well as Mike for coming on and telling us his story. What else do you guys want to add to that?
No, man, I would just say, Hank, once again, man, I mean, and let's celebrate. I wasn't on, but you're over 500 episodes now, so, man, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You're definitely a part of that, man.
Yeah, I mean, hot and heavy at the very beginning. Yeah. Oh, but no, it's good to see you, man. That's consistency and strength, man. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah.
Mike, I would like to say, you know, thank you for taking the time out to come on and chat, man. I don't think you realize how much of an inspiration you are to a lot of people out there, not just in your age group either. It's not even about age at this point. But I think not only your story, but the way you conduct yourself is a tall tale sign of exactly what more Americans should be. So I know that you move the needle with a lot of people. So no matter how hard it gets or when it feels like you want to give up, remember, you're not even just responsible for you and your family. You connected with hearts and minds and people that are going to wake up every day looking at you for a way to go through life. Take that responsibility, own it, and move forward, even when it gets hard. And of course, I'm a resource if you need it.
Absolutely.
And everybody else that tunes in and supports the podcast, man, thank you all, even in discourse. I appreciate you all for caring about your country and caring enough to at least come have the conversation and listen to the dialogue.
Awesome. Thank you. Miss K says, salute to all. Enjoyed the show. Go ahead, Mike. What do you got to say?
I just want to tell, thank you, KD, for that, man. You know, you're a brother of mine. You definitely inspire me to keep going. And if you know me, you know I don't give up. So I'm here for the long haul. I appreciate you, Hank, even for allowing me to on the show.
Absolutely, man. We'd love to see you come back, man.
Definitely want to do it again. I appreciate your wife also, Lola. She's actually one of the ones that actually encouraged me to come on the show. I told her and we got in contact, and she's great. So I appreciate. Thank Lola. Happy late birthday to her too as well.
Absolutely.
But again, man, I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome, and look forward to doing some more stuff with you guys in the future.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. All right. Kevin Dixie has blessed you guys with lots of stuff here. So you might want to rewind this one, look at it again. Thanks so much, Mike. I appreciate all you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you. We're out of here. Final words. KD, I'll let you get the final words, man. I know.
No, man, I just want to say bless everyone and your families. May you be good stewards of everything you've been gifted with and given by God, including your inalienable rights to own and protect your family with firearms and all the other privileges that God has extended to you. Be peaceful, be great people, love your neighbor, and press on and know that we the people will win one day.
Amen. Amen. We're out. Peace.